Welcome back to another transformation video. Today we are talking kitchens. I lost the footage of the kitchen right at the beginning, hence why this is from the house tour that I first did. So as you can see, this kitchen was not touched for a long time and it was teeny tiny. I could stretch my arms out across the whole of the kitchen and touch both sides, and it was tiled floor to ceiling. So straight away I knew that I wanted to knock the wall out between the kitchen and the dining room. So let's have a look at the process. The kitchen is my favourite room of the house, and it's been really nice going back and seeing how it looked at the beginning and how it looks now. So first thing we had to do was the messy stuff. We had to take all of the tiles off all of the walls and the floor. Levi had a lot of fun doing the floor tiles because they were cemented down and they were really strong tiles, so that took a lot of hammer and chiseling. So this is me taking off some tiles, and as you can see, the plaster behind was really bad quality and it just crumbled straight off, so we knew we were probably going to have to take it back to brick, but this just cemented the fact that we had to go back to the brick. So we just took off all of the tiles. This didn't take too long actually, I didn't realise, but this only took us a couple of days to do, and then we were ready to crack on to taking the wall down. So prior to taking the wall between the kitchen and dining room down, we didn't know whether it was structural, so our builder put these acro props up just to make sure that in case anything went wrong, the ceiling was supported. It was only when we started taking the bricks down that we realised that the structural wall goes the opposite way across the house, which meant that we didn't have to get a structural steel beam, because in a lot of kitchens that have been opened up you might see a beam that is sort of halfway between the kitchen and the dining room, and this is often because the wall was structural, so you have to put a steel beam in place to hold it up. But the roof joists or the ceiling joists ran the opposite way, so that's how we realised that we didn't need a structural beam, which saved us some money and some time because it meant that we didn't have to keep the acro props up and we didn't have to buy a steel beam. So here we are taking the bricks down from the wall. We were really careful about this because we needed to reuse these bricks for blocking up the back door that we hadn't yet done, but I was going to put in French doors where this window is now, and we wanted to block up the back door and put the kitchen run across there. So we wanted to be careful with the bricks and try and salvage as many as we could, and we also built up the utility room outside using some more of these bricks as well. So the wall is gone, and the next thing we had to do was take out the bricks either side of the back door. So this is what it looks like from outside. They've just taken out, I don't really understand why they did this, but they took out half of the bricks and then they were able to take the door out. I think it might be to hold it up. I'm not really sure. I'm not going to get into that. They did it anyway. So this is from one of the house tours again, because I don't have the footage from this, but we just put this sheet up for a day or so whilst they were bricking up the back door, just from a safety point of view, and this is what it looks like whilst it's getting bricked up, which was very exciting. And then after it was fully bricked up, they were able to plasterboard it, and then the whole of the kitchen was back to brick at this point. So the plasterboarding ensued from this point onwards. So as you can see in the bottom corner there, we've got some pipe situations. The plumber on this house is someone that was an interesting character to work with. We've got a new plumber for the next house, let's just leave it at that. So we had some interesting contraptions going on to allow us to keep a water supply. This is something that we didn't really think about at the time, but keeping a water supply on a building site is really important, and we sort of hadn't factored that into our plans. So that's why this contraption looks like that with the tap. So after the room had been boarded out, it was time for plastering, and plastering was so cool to really see the space change. I really think it affects the room and makes it look a lot more like a room that you can visualize. So just before I started this painting, the boiler got put on the wall and we had to seal the plaster with this PVA glue, which is apparently just something that you have to do. So I went round with a PVA mix and went over everything that had been plastered, and then I was able to start painting. So I painted everything white, and it was time for the kitchen to arrive, which was a very exciting day. I would say fitting the kitchen was probably one of the most stressful times of doing the renovation and making sure that it actually fit. But before we fitted the kitchen, we got the flooring put down, which is I would definitely make sure that we do this again going forward for other projects. So the underlay went down, and then we got the laminate floor fitted, which was a really exciting day because I love the colour of this laminate floor. It's not real wood, but I think it looks really realistic, and I love the colour of it. I really wanted a light wood floor, and we got it, which was exciting. And then the time to fit the kitchen came. Levi and I had a few stressful days making sure that this kitchen fit because the floor in the kitchen and dining room were two different levels, which made it incredibly stressful to try and level this. And also we booked the kitchen fitter to come 2 days later or something, and it meant that we stayed very late to make sure that the kitchen was in, ready for the kitchen fitter. I was very relieved once this was over, put it that way. And we've just decided that we're going to fit the kitchen ourselves in the next house. So hopefully it won't be quite as stressful as this because we've learnt quite a lot, and also the floor will be level, hopefully. After the worktop was fitted, the plumber came back and fitted the sink and the tap, which are two of my favourite parts of this kitchen. I love them. And then it was on to tiling after the electrician put in the lights as well. I had already tiled the bathroom at this point, so I sort of felt like I did know what I was doing, and we just went with the white Metro tiles so that whoever buys this house, it's nice and sort of plain and simple, and I think it really complements the white work surface and the grey cabinets. So yeah, simple tiling. I hadn't done a, what do they call it, like a... There's a word for it when they sort of overlay them. It's like the classic Metro style, but I hadn't done that before. So the main thing here was that I just had to get my measurements for the half bricks right. Then we moved on to grouting. Again, I'd obviously done the bathroom at this point, so I sort of knew what I was doing and knew my consistencies, so I didn't waste as much grout as I did when I did the bathroom. That was a big learning curve. And I also found grouting super satisfying. And then the electrician came back and fitted the extractor, and the kitchen was done. So we went from this tiny weeny kitchen to this. I still can't believe that we did this to the space. I'm so thrilled with the way that it turned out. I knew that I wanted a white work surface, I knew that I wanted grey units, and I knew I wanted antique brass hardware. So I got everything I wanted really, and I am just chuffed with it. I love spending time in the kitchen. It's my favourite room of the house. I think kitchens have always just been something that I have loved so much. So my ceramic sink and tap are a favourite feature of mine. I have my bin underneath in that shaker style units which I went for. Then I've got my utensils and some stackable mugs, and I wanted to tie in black features with the kettle and toaster along with the hob and oven. I just thought that black would stand out quite nicely against the very pale tones, and also the metal balustrades in the dining room, not in the dining room, in the hallway. And then I've got a big black metal clock on the wall. Over the other side of the work surface I have the peninsula, The kitchen was too small to put an island in, which is something that I will have one day, but I got the next best thing, which was this peninsula with these 2 bar stools. And then we obviously have the microwave on the side. We have the light over the peninsula, which was put in the wrong place first, and I had to get rid of one of them. And then these 2 shelves either side are from Amazon, and then the little pot plants are from IKEA. These are the antique brass pulls, and then I've got a couple of marble, what are these? They are placemats actually, but I use them to sort of put things on next to the cooker. And did I tell you that I love my kitchen? I'm really excited about it. And we're in the process of designing the kitchen for house number 2, which is an exciting experience because I've learned a lot from this. Having corners in a kitchen is a bit of a pain in the bum, I realised. But this is how it looks and I'm so excited. I love my kitchen so much. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this transformation and I'll see you in the next one.